Hello everyone and welcome to the Hearts of Minecraft modding workshop. Today we will be going through creating a custom map for Hearts of Iron 4 that can be run in the game without crashing. So, firstly, let us go through a checklist of what we need. The first program we need to download is paint.net. It is a free editing software that can be used for modifying photos, and in our case we will be using it to create some of the basic maps to get the map to work. So the link you're looking for is www.getpaint.net, and it should take you to this old looking site, and all you need to do is scroll down and not press on the first one because this is a paid version for Windows. Press on the second one that says free. Now to give you an ad, just close off that, and then in the top right there should be a paint.net download, and it should start downloading you a zip of paint.net. Once the zip is downloaded, what you want to do is extract the zip using the Windows extraction tool. Usually most PCs come with most Windows PCs come with an extraction software these days with Windows 10, but you can also use 7-zip or WinRAR, and it is recommended you get 7-zip or WinRAR. But for now we can just use the inbuilt tool. So we just need to allow paint.net to get downloaded. It will extract the files, and this will choose the installation. So all you need to do is press Express. You don't really need to fiddle around with many of the settings. Agree to their TOS, and then install paint.net. Alright, once the installation has successfully completed, all you need to do is press finish, and the download should be done, and you should have something like this. Now we have our first program installed for the creation of the map. The next program you need is to get a map generator that will greatly reduce the process of creating a map for Hearts of Iron 4. So all you need to do is type into your browser mapgen v2.2, and the first Reddit post that should come up should be the link that you need. So, the first pinned comment by the original creator should have a download here, bit.ly mapgen v2.2. You just have to copy this and paste it in a new tab, and it should take you to a Google Drive files. Then what you want to do is double click onto mapgen v2.2, and then in the top right press the download. Alright, so if an error like this pops up, it should be fine because mapgen shouldn't include any viruses. It would just start it downloading the zip, and you should be set to go once it has downloaded the zip file. Once it is downloaded, press show in folder, sending you to the downloads folder. And now what you want to do is you extract it with either the Windows extraction system or 7-zip, like I have shown here. Once the files are extracted, simply press on the mapgen files and then head into mapgen v2.2 and open the exe file. And there we go. This is the mapgen system that will allow you to create a map in Hearts of Iron 4. Now there is a bug for some PCs. It will pop up with Windows protected your PC. All you need to do is press more details and then press run anyway, and it should boot up mapgen v2.2 normally. Alrighty, now that we are in mapgen, let me go through what you need to get a basic functioning map. If we go to the export to game section, we will see basically everything we need for the map to work. The province map, definitions, states, height map, world normal, river map, color map, and terrain map. A lot of these can actually be auto-generated by mapgen, but they all rely on one first map, the land input tab. So what is the land input? Luckily, the mapgen creators have provided an example for us. So if we head back into the mapgen v2.2 files and then press on examples, it will come up with 4 example maps of the different maps that are needed for you to create to get mapgen to work. So the first one we want to open is the purple looking map. this is what the land input looks like. You want to hover over to open with paint.net, and then it should open it up in paint.net. So here's the land map. As you can see, there are 3 colours. The green represents lakes, the purple represents land, and the sea is black. Now if you want to use this map, you can, but I think it would be better if we created our own map based on this file. So let's hit File, New, and then in the bottom here should have the exact dimensions you need for the map to work. Too small, hoi 4 bugs out. Too big, again, hoi 4 bugs out. So it's best to just use the provided size. Once we have done that, we can just press OK, and it will create a blank file for you with white. Now we don't want it to be white, we want the background to be black. So what you need to do is use the color picker tool, click on the black, then click on the arrow to avoid a common bug, and then press on the paint bucket tool and it will make it black. Now you have a blank canvas to paint whatever you want. If you want the map to be, let's say, anything really, you can basically put whatever you want into the game. So what you want to do is head over to the first map after pressing the Move Selected Pixels button to avoid a common bug, which basically will weirdly use the paint bucket tool, filling in what you previously did. What you want to do is use the color picker, click on the purple, head back over, seeing it is still black, and use the pencil tool to create your map. Now we don't want to use the paintbrush tool because, for example, if I do this, you can see it has faded edges. Now, MapGen can technically patch these out for you, but it is best to avoid the work MapGen has to do as it is an old file. So now you can get drawing. I'm just going to create a cursed little smiley face to show you an example of how the map works. So let's get painting. I'll draw the first eye, and then I will draw the second eye abnormally large. This is a very disfigured person. Now we will draw the smiley face. Oh, it looks beautiful. I'm so proud of this. And we have an outline. Now what we want to do is use the paint bucket tool. This will happen because we need to make sure we zoom in and use the pencil to cover the remaining gaps. Just because the pencil tool can't get any bigger and the paintbrush tool isn't good to use, although it can go bigger. Now what we want to do is fill in all of the ground. Now we have a solid terrain map with basically flat land. That's all it's going to be. However, what I recommend we first do is add in some lakes for more variety. So let's use the color picker tool, select the green, head back over, and use the pencil tool to create a small lake, if possible. Oh wait, I'm still using the color picker tool. Let's head back over, select the green, head back over, then select the pencil tool and draw our little lake, making sure the gap is filled in. And there we go, we have our first lake. And now let's do one for the other eye. Alright, also we need to make sure that there is no 1 pixel gaps like this, because I think the smallest island size you can have is at least 6 pixels, but it is generally better to have big islands and not small islands. You can have small islands if you want to, but it's just best to avoid Hearts of Iron 4 from glitching out. Now, here is the basic land input. What we want to do is File, Save As. Let's just save it to desktop for now and just name it land input. Alright, press OK. So no matter how cursed this looks, the land input is ready. Alright, now we can quickly swipe out of all of these. click and drag the land input into MapGen v2.2. Now as you can see here, it has come up with invalid pixels detected. Now these are caused by very small bugs created by the pencil tool, which aren't necessarily bugs, where as you can see, there have been little greyed out areas formed at the corners. Now MapGen can patch these out, that's alright. However, here, there was a singular pixel line. I will show you what I mean. Now this will cause the game to bug out. So what you want to do is make sure this is a couple pixels bigger, just to get rid of that error. And that should solve all your problems. All you need to do, file, save it, and then replacing the land input with the edited things. Press OK, and everything should be fine from here on out. Now, let's move on to the terrain input. The terrain input is a little bit more complex, but I will go through it. If you're lazy, you can just press Generate Plains World, and it will basically create a Plains World with nothing in it. It'll just basically be flat land and your lakes that you added in before. But if you want to add some different terrain, what I recommend doing is pressing Save on your desktop, name this Terrain Input, pressing Save, and then it should pop onto your desktop in a minute. Opening it into paint.net, and now basically you have a blank canvas to paint around with the different terrain inputs you want. So, to show you an example of what the terrain map looks like, what we're going to do is we're going to open back up the MapGen files, which should be in your downloads if you have lost them. That's a quick tip. Head into MapGen, MapGen v2.2, examples, and then let's open up the terrain map into paint.net. Alright, as you can see here, there are a whole bunch of different colours, so let me go through the different colours and what they are. Orange is plains, flat land that will occasionally generate farms spaced along them. Grey is mountains. Basically, that's it. They're mountains, they're big tall things that appear on the map. Yellow is hills, so they're not as tall as mountains, but they do provide some effects in game. And the dark orangey red is desert. And all the greens are different types of forests, but I have found that all the greens seem to just generate the same sort of forest, so you shouldn't really have to worry about that. Just use one of the greens of your selection. So, let's create our own terrain map. Now what you want to do is make sure you use the Move Selected Pixels tool. Color pick, let's add in some desert first. Head back over, use the pencil tool. Zoom right in. Let's add some desert on this big eyeball here. Now once you've done this, you can just use the paint bucket tool and fill that in. Now, as you can see here, what it has done is filled in the entire area with orange. Now this is simply because the colours are very similar. So what you're going to have to do is manually paint in the desert areas. Now this is going to take a while, so what I would recommend doing to save you some time is selecting another colour. Let's say forest, heading back over, using the pencil tool and creating a forest once we have closed the gap. Filling that in, that is a forest. And then what you can do is head back over to the other map, colour pick some of the orange, and then create it inside the other colour. Now this is going to look a little weird, but it's the best strategy you can do with paint.net to avoid the errors. Now let's add in some hills and mountains. Alright, so pretty much this is the entire terrain map with everything filled in. Now, you could technically spend hours making this, but for the purpose of this workshop, I will just use this monstrosity. So, we can file and save the terrain input. Save it. Alright. Yes, that will save it as a paint.net document. File. Save. Just press File, Save, and then that will create the new terrain input. Now, simply click and drag in the terrain input, and it will come up with invalid pixels, just for those a few little grayed out pixels that occur. Press OK, and as you can see here is our terrain map with all different types of terrain scattered. Now next we have the province size input. The province size input is basically determine how big provinces are in a certain area. So we can simply use the 3 preset distribution. Mercator distribution will basically have smaller provinces in the north and the south with thicker provinces in the centre. As you can see here, most of it is whitened out because of the smiley face being so small. In this case, we can use uniform distribution, which will just make everything thick. Now, you could technically skip this part, but I will show you how to create a map. So doing the same thing we did the terrain input, saving it, press save, and then it will save a province size input base, opening it in paint.net. And now what we want to do is open back up our examples tab in MapGen v2.2, opening up the province and density map, press open with paint.net. As you can see here, there are all different types of colours. There's greys, there's whites, and there's blacks. Blacks will be thicker provinces and whites will be smaller sized provinces. So let's say if you wanted to have a massive mountain area, I would recommend using the white for less provinces to fight over, as that is worse terrain, or in deserts. So we simply can colour pick, let's say, some grey, and let's make this eye grey. Now we can head back over and colour pick some white, and now we can make a small, let's split this in half. So let's not. And all we need to do is then head over and fill in a small chunk, and then use the paint bucket tool, fill it in. Fill in another small chunk, use the paint bucket tool and fill it in, and make sure we get rid of any accidental small 1 pixel bugs that we create, making it thicker. And now we can zoom out, and this will basically generate a whole bunch of different sizes for me to use as examples. Now let's save it. And it will simply just replace the province input that you placed there before, or it will save it as a paint.net document, but we don't want that, so we can just save it as a BMP, replace the BMP from before. Alright, now it has created our custom province input. Simply drag and drop in the province size. Now we're going to pass this because it's not very needed and head over to the province map. As you can see here, there's just a simple generate function, but if you notice this sneaky little text, provinces don't cross rivers. So if you wanted to add in rivers, I would highly recommend doing it now. So let's head over to the river map and generate. Because our smiley face is so small, we'll probably only generate 20 rivers. Press generate, and as you can see, it will require a height map, so we're going to have to head back and generate that. It will bug out a bit and load, but it should work. Now you head back over to the river map and press generate, and it will require a province map. So you will have to generate this before creating the state output or anything like that. head back over to the river map, press generate. But after this, make sure you go back to the province map, press generate again, and then hopefully the provinces will not cross rivers. Now, as you can see here, there is a small chunk of thick provinces here and here where I added in the white. This is kind of medium size, and the areas here and here are very thick provinces. And as you can see, the sea provinces are generally smaller surrounding the coast. Now we can move on to the state input. Now the state input is very important. Other people decide not to use the state output as a generating thing and manually do it within Hearts of Iron 4, but the nudging tool is just, it's very painful to use and it can take a lot of time. So if you want to get your map out for your mod while not spending a year editing it, you don't really need the finest quality map in Hearts of Iron 4 for your mod. But if you wanted to do it manually by the nudge tool, I will not show you how to do it, but there are some other videos out there showing you how to do it. So here we can tweak the state size and the state variation. Variation makes them less uniform or more uniform. So as you can see here, I've turned down the variation and they are all the same size. But if I turn it all the way up, it'll create very weird and wonky shapes, and they don't look very good for the Hoi 4 state sizes. So we just bump it down, have the variation still high but not too big, generate it, and then as you can see that's still quite small. I think we can have it a little bigger. I think that's probably generally enough. Now we are almost in the end game for the map creation tool once you're happy with the state output. You have the height map, you have the world normal, and now next we need to move on to the color map. The color map, all you need to do is press generate and it will create some basic Hoi 4 stuff. This map basically is used by Hoi 4. Now, here is the big one, the terrain map. All you need to do is press generate, and if you've done it correctly, it will not bug out. So, here you go, it did not bug out. This is the actual terrain map that Hearts of Iron 4 will use. Now, some common errors with bugging out is, for example, as you're transferring the land input over to the terrain input, having this background black and making it and keeping it black but all the terrain changed. That is actually what bumped back Hearts of Minecraft back by a couple days because I stuffed up this. Or using incorrect colours for your creation of your forests and your hills and such. So you really want to make sure you get that right. So once everything is done, you're pretty much ready. Now all you can do is type in the mod name, type in tutorial, that's what I will do, and now the color map file path. Now as you can see here, here is the color map. However, this is not the color map that the mod needs. Now what we would need to do is create the color map, as you can see here. Now what you want to do is press save to file on the color map that has been created in MapGen, and then just save it to the desktop. Just type in color map, and as you can see it will save as a BMP but not as a DDS. So if you press yes, it will take you to a BMP to DDS site. This link still works as far as I know. Head over to your desktop, press on the color map, open colormap.bmp, target format DDS, correct. Everything looks the same. Press convert now and wait for it to convert to a DDS format. Alright, now it has created the color map. All you need to do is press the small download in the bottom corner, then press add to zip, and then press on the link. Now it should start a download. It'll be a couple kilobytes. Press show in folder, extract the file, and now here is your color map. It looks like a blank nothing, but that is what it's meant to look like. So what I'm going to do is just drag it onto the desktop for easy use. Hover over export to game, press open file, head to the desktop, press A207A or whatever your file is called, press open, and now finally after all of that the map is ready to download into Hoi 4. Press export to game, and now it will install your mod hidden inside the Hearts of Iron 4 folder. Alright, now that you have exported from MapGen v2.2, I will show you where to find the files that have been exported into Hearts of Iron 4. So what you want to do is go into this PC, Documents, then Paradox Interactive, Hearts of Iron 4, Mod, and then once it loads, you should find the name of your mod that you have exported. Now I have two here. Now this only exists because of a bug, so we can just ignore it. The name of my mod is Tutorial Map, so don't get confused as I edit things. But the first tweak we need to do to make sure the mod works is head into this .mod file. Now to open it, you can use your text editor, such as Sublime Text. This also works in Notepad++, and if you're really unable to get a text editor, which I highly recommend you would, you can open it in generic Notepad. However, I will quickly open it in Sublime Text, the editor that I use myself, and I will show you what you need to tweak. So, the first thing you need to tweak is the supported version. So, you want to change it to your latest version, and when this tutorial was created, the latest version was 1.10.4. It may be 0.5 or 11 by the time you use this. And next we need to add in this replace path. Now it is going to be in the description of this video, however I am using it through the Discord for the modding workshop. So all you want to do is copy it and then head into the .mod file, and as you can see up here there's a replace path history/state. You want to get rid of that and then paste in the new replace path. Now what this is going to do is it's going to delete all of the base Hoi 4 content. So once you have done this, you just want to save and then head into the tutorial map folder. The next thing you need to edit is you need to head into the map folder, and then once you've done this you want to find definition.csv, open it with your text editor, and you should see a whole bunch of scrambled numbers. Now what you want to do is scroll all the way down to the bottom, and this is the amount of provinces that you have in your map. Now this number is important, so what we are going to do is open into your web browser and type, and I will have a link to this in the description of this video as well, a number generator. What this will do is it will generate a list of numbers that you need, and yes, you need a list of numbers for the mod. So, list of numbers from 1 to 100, that is not the number we need. We need 1,400,859. That is the exact number of provinces I have. It may be different for you, but what you want to do is then generate the number list, scroll all the way down to the bottom to make sure you've got the right amount of numbers, and then before you copy it you want to open up another file. So you want to head back into the tutorial map and then the map folder, and then press on strategic regions and open up 0 test strategic region in your text editor. And what you want to do is then open up another file, number 1 Southern England. It should still be named Southern England for you, and then just press Ctrl A, Ctrl C to copy everything in this file, paste it into this file, and then you want to delete everything from the test strategic region. Now that you've done this, basically all this will do is avoid a common error with the fact that it is considered a test strategic region. Now what you want to do is open back up your web browser with this number list generated, copy it, and then you should see provinces here in brackets. You want to delete the numbers that have already been put here. However, you do not want to delete the bracket, as I just did there. You want to delete the numbers listed there, and then paste in your random number list. What this will basically do is include all of the provinces in your map into one strategic region. Now, this is going to suck. This is, I think, the most tedious thing you're going to have to do for this map to work, is go through and add in some other strategic regions by using each one of these as provinces. However, for the map to load into the game, you don't need to worry about this for now. But I would highly recommend going through and editing it. It is the only thing that's going to take a lot of tedious, annoying work to do. So, once you have done that, the next thing we want to do is copy some stuff from the base game, because as we know, in our .mod folder, we have replaced the path of everything. Now what we want to do is open up a new File Explorer window, head into your Hearts of Iron 4 directory. For me, it is in Program Files times 86, Steam, and then find Steam Apps, Common, Hearts of Iron 4, and this is where mine is located. And now what you want to do is head into the Common folder for Hearts of Iron 4, and head into the Common folder for Tutorial Map. And the files you're going to need is firstly to remove this AI strategy file, and then head over and find the AI strategy and copy it and paste it into your mod. Find AI strategy plans, copy it and paste it into your mod. And then find AI piece, as you can see here, copy it and paste it into your mod. Make sure you're using the copy paste feature unless you accidentally drag and drop it into the file. I've done that and accidentally corrupted my HOI4 files, so I highly recommend looking out for little things like that. And now, the second, another tedious thing you have to do, but this is less of a priority than the strategic region issue. You want to head into each one of these files, Control A, backspace, file, save, and clear them all out. It's going to take a while to do, but once you do this, it should clear a whole bunch of errors in your error.log. So, another easy way to tell if you've removed everything is it should have size 0 kilobytes, but you need the files to exist. So you're going to want to do this, make sure you remember, in AI strategy and AI strategy plans, but not in AI piece, as AI piece is a basic mechanic. Now, the next thing, I remember, you need to copy over AI focuses. This should be the second last you need to copy over and paste it into your game. Now what this does is creates focus trees for the base HOI4 countries. So if you wanted to add in the base HOI4 countries, you can. However, if not, then you probably just want to Control A, delete, and common them all out. This will again avoid errors in your mod. Now, the very last thing you're going to need to copy over from HOI4 is head into national_focus in both of your mods, find generic, copy, and then paste it into your national focus file of your mod. Now what this should do is give you a plain generic focus trees for the new countries you create, and this will avoid a much more painful error later on. Now what you want to do is right click on Hearts of Iron 4, press properties, and then enter -debug. This will allow you to get access to the error log. And now, after all of this, we can press play and head in to the game. Now you want to disable all the mods you've used before and delete any blank files. Press add more mods, find your mod here, as you can see, press add to playset, and this should just add it to the playset. If you're using the initial playset, it'll already be there, but if you have your own playsets, you should know your way around that. Now once we have done this, we can press home, and now we press play. Alright, once HOI4 is booted up, you should see a little nudge function if you enable the debug tool. Press nudge, and ta-da! You can see your completed map inside Hearts of Iron 4. Now, as you can see here, you can see a little bit of terrain that we added. The forests. These are the hills. Some more forest here. Some desert. And then if we go all the way up, some more forest. You can see the eye lakes. And of course, here are some farms that are auto-generated. And here is a big chunk of forest. And here is a massive mountain. As you can see, it alters the map upwards. And if we press on states, as you can see, it has a whole bunch of states in there for you. And if you press on strategic regions, it'll all be in one strategic region. So it's going to be annoying for you to go through and manually add them all in. Now that you have done this, your map is pretty much ready to go for creation inside Hearts of Iron 4. And you do not need, technically, to do the strategic region editing for now, but in a later tutorial I will go through adding in countries and other things like that. But for now, thank you for tuning in to the Hearts of Iron 4 modding workshop by Hearts of Minecraft, and I hope to see you in the next one.